Yeah, I think it's been obviously a while since we beat them, and it definitely feels good. But more importantly, it's 3 points. We don't care who we play at home. We want to be able to sing at the end of the game and to enjoy those 3 points and keep moving up the table.
The team has back-to-back wins, which includes a 3-0 win over Charlotte FC. How will the team keep up this momentum?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've been executing our game plans very well and been adaptable in switching formations and the way we play. And I think it's been a real commitment to what we're doing from everyone. So I think obviously Atlanta's not an easy place to go play on the turf, and obviously they get good crowds as well. But to be able to carry that momentum of a team that's not been doing great, but we know that they're going to be desperate for a win as well.
Sweet. Okay. The team will be facing Atlanta for the first time since 2019, and will be looking for their first win since 2017. How will the team's recent road performances help them with the upcoming match?
Yeah, I think obviously going in with the game plan and just being able to execute that game plan. I think Eric's done a great job of adapting to the different teams and the different threats that they pose. But we know that it's not going to be an easy game, especially they're looking to improve their record. Obviously, they're on a little bit of a slide now, so we know it's going to be difficult. And I think for me, and a couple other guys, we remember that 2019 Open Cup loss in the final. So I think have that in the back of our mind when we're there as well.
And then Ramsay has made a few tactical changes in formation, especially playing with five in the back. What can you take away from the tactical changes?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a formation that I feel comfortable playing, as I've played there with the national team before, so it's not much different for me. And I think we still have our core principles of that we want to apply no matter the formation that we play. So I think it's definitely nice for me having an extra defender there sometimes. But I think it just comes down to being able to execute the game plan and get a clean sheet and 3 points on the board.
And then the last question is, Dayne has started the last two games after coming off a clean sheet. He has been a key component in scoring 4 goals. What can you see from his performance?
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny because we kind of had similar pathways in going on loan and coming back and starting off very strong. And definitely he's worked for everything that he's got, and he's taken his chances very well, and I hope that he continues to do so, because that boost of helping the team up top, we know that we're going into games expecting that we're going to score at least one goal, if not more.
All right, just coming off a nice home win, just sort of general reaction and, to the contest on Saturday.
Yeah, we were really pleased with the result, less pleased with the performance, but I think on reflection, having watched the game back, it was a game that, albeit we didn't have as much of the ball we would want, we certainly controlled the game without the ball, which is a side to us that I want to make sure that we have. As a default, it's not going to be possible to play as we want with the ball every game. We're not going to dominate every game with the ball as we sort of had done over the course of the last couple. So to have that as a default to go to when things aren't quite as you want it to be on that side of the game, then that's pleasing for me. And I think that just added to the fact that over the course of the last 3 games, the team is certainly moving in the right direction. And I think we got reward for probably the accumulation of 3 very good home performances there, so it was really important for us.
And just talk about your sort of lack of aversion to bringing on subs, whether that's at halftime or sort of throughout the game. Just talk about sort of your philosophy there and maybe how that impacts some of the players.
I think the game has changed from the subs perspective since you're permitted to make 5, so I don't think it's any longer sort of insulting, for want of a better word, for a player to be taken off at half time. I think it affords the opportunity to look at the first half and second half in very different ways, and obviously a game that you suddenly find yourself up by 2 goals in very quickly is a very different game to the game that you planned for at the beginning. So I've tried to make that clear to the players that it's not there's no element of attack on performance when we make these changes. It's genuinely all about pragmatism, adaptability, meeting the conditions of a game that isn't the game that you prepared for at the beginning. So I think we made the changes that we made with Timu and Fraga coming off. They both really played their part, obviously, in us being in the situation we were in at half time. And I think the subs then came on and gave us a spike in energy. We changed system a little bit, and then we sort of repeated that twice over the course of the second half, which each time allowed us to get another level of impetus from a physical perspective, and that's something that we really want to push.
Coming off of one really impressive road win in an NFL stadium on turf, going to another place that's an NFL stadium on turf, do you approach those games any differently, knowing that there may be a larger crowd, or just sort of the style of play?
I think there's definitely some parallels in that. They're hard places to go to for for reasons that I suppose aren't the norm in that sense. There are a couple of things that are particular about going to play in those types of venues, so we got to make sure that we sort of repeat what we did in Charlotte from the perspective of mentality and how we started the game, but also a big message will be that counts for nothing. Saturday counts for nothing. We are starting from scratch again against a really good team over there. So yeah, it will be all focused on making sure that we take the best of the performance on Saturday, the best of the away performance in similar circumstances, and hope that amounts to some points for us.
And you talk about stats like XG, possession, things like that. Does it seem like on paper we've maybe not earned some of the results we have, but does the last couple of weeks start to prove that maybe it's starting to turn on?
Yeah, I think that you tread carefully around the stats because as I've said, no one gets any trophies come the end of the year for being top of the XG charts, but I think over a month's worth of games it does point to a general baseline of performance that I think if we can repeat over the coming months, then we'll find ourselves in the position that we want to be in. But I'm also aware that this league changes quickly, games come very thick and fast from next month onwards, so sort of that is easier said than done. But if you're looking at things objectively, then we're exactly where we want to be at the moment from a performance perspective, and that at this stage of the season is the most important thing. You want to be performing well, and then you trust that the results will either come or continue to come in our case now.
Last one, just Atlanta's a team that's sort of known for their high potent attack. They spend a lot of money on the offense, but one of our strengths this year has been sort of that consistency in the back line and defensively. And is that something that sort of gives this group confidence going into a game like this against a team with a lot of high power players?
Yeah, it's probably maybe another level. I haven't watched loads and loads of them yet, but another level based on what we've played so far in terms of the forwards. But I will say that seems to be a real thread to every game that you play at the moment, and it was the same with Kansas, and it's been the same with the large majority of teams we play, where you look at the front players and you think there is a relatively big difference between the level of quality, the transfer fees that's spent on that part of the pitch relative to the rest. So it'll be similar messages, I would say, but maybe there's a heightened sharpness required because of the level. And I know my staff have talked over the course of the last couple of days about the quality that they have there and the money that's been spent. So yeah, we need to. I'm sure it'll bring the best out of our players, and they love a challenge, don't they? That's why they're in the game. So I think to be able to play against some of the best forwards in the league will bring the best out of our defenders, and I think. If we see the best from our backline, then it'll be a tough day for Atlanta, I'm sure.